Imagine that today is the last time you'll hear about death. In 2032, humanity accomplished the impossible. We cracked the biological code and stopped aging forever. We thought it would be the beginning of a golden age. We dreamed of endless knowledge, eternal love, and conquering the stars. But no one asked, is the universe itself ready for a species that refuses to die? This is not just a story of progress. It is a chronicle of our slow extinction. We invite you on a journey spanning 5 centuries, from the first shot of the elixir of youth to the last breath of human civilization in a world where life no longer has an end, and therefore, no meaning.
Ah, are you already here? Then let's get started. The first 50 years after the victory over death went down in history as the Long Spring. It was a time of absolute, almost religious rapture. Imagine a world where there was no longer any need to rush. Death, that merciless overseer forever standing at the shoulder of every creator, suddenly vanished. For the first time in history, a species had infinity at its disposal. The concept of career or calling was instantly transformed. Humans were no longer confined to a single profession. Now you could spend the first 40 years of your life deeply studying theoretical physics, the next half-century becoming the greatest cellist of our time, and then, with your mind sharp and your fingers nimble, devote a century to architecture or colonizing the ocean floor. Knowledge became the only true currency of this new world. The economy didn't simply grow, it was reborn. Accumulated experience no longer went to the grave with the master, it accumulated, transforming every professional into a living library of knowledge. The mistakes of the past were analyzed over centuries, enabling humanity to make incredible technological leaps. Cities became floating gardens, their snow-white towers piercing the clouds, and the sky filled with silent shuttles carrying people to the stars. We felt like true gods, masters of the atom and time. But behind this shining facade of perfection, a new, cold, and quiet horror was brewing. There were 18 billion of us. The planet had become one continuous, pulsating metropolis, where nature was merely a backdrop. We were young, impeccably beautiful, and full of vitality, but deep down, a strange uneasiness was brewing. For the first time in millions of years, the sight of a pregnant woman no longer evoked affection. In the eyes of those around us, only a cold calculation was visible. Would there be enough resources, a place in the sun, and, most importantly, oxygen for this new humanity in a world that refused to make room? By the middle of the 2nd century, the great celebration of life gave way to an era of great stagnation. On the centennial of the discovery of the Phoenix strain, the government passed the harshest law in history, the Global Equilibrium Act. Childbirth was officially outlawed. For someone new to enter this world, one of the Eternals had to voluntarily renounce their immortality. But over the decades, not a single person was found willing to exchange their endless youth for someone else's beginning. The world became a frozen, flawless, yet lifeless museum. Social mobility was forever frozen. Imagine a talented young man, only 40 years old, trying to climb to the top of his career. But all the positions are occupied by people who are 150, and they have no intention of leaving. Why would a CEO or minister leave their post if they are in perfect intellectual and physical condition? The human hierarchy is frozen in amber. We became a civilization of eternal teachers, with no one left to impart their knowledge and experience to. Art, once a mirror of change, became an endless reworking of old meanings, remixes of remixes. For decades, we watched films with the same actors, who never physically changed, and their performances became increasingly mechanical, devoid of a spark of life. Time became a viscous swamp, an endless, repeating Groundhog Day. Playgrounds, once full of screams and laughter, became overgrown with thorny ivy and became grim monuments to an era when humanity still knew how to grow and change. The most valuable and forbidden commodity on the black markets of digital data became a file containing a recording of real, non-synthesized children's laughter, a sound that has finally vanished from physical reality, leaving us in the eerie silence of eternal perfection. By the end of the 3rd century, we were faced with the most terrifying side effect of immortality, the biological limit of human memory. Our brain, shaped over millions of years of evolution, was designed to accommodate 70, or at most 100, years of life experience. It simply couldn't contain 3 centuries worth of data. A process began that scientists called cognitive collapse. Memory began to defend itself, automatically deleting non-essential files to make room for new data. You might remember the most complex mathematical formula or the control protocols of a quantum reactor in minute detail, but completely forget the face of your first love, your mother's voice, or the taste of apples from your childhood orchard. The most precious, intimate moments of human existence turned into white noise, empty folders in the depths of the subconscious. To salvage the remnants of sanity and avoid going mad from the realization of this growing inner emptiness, we created memory sanitation clinics. We began editing our souls manually, like text files. We excised old grief, erased the shameful mistakes of youth, and erased the boredom of centuries past. We strove to transform our past into a perfect, polished newsfeed, devoid of pain and disappointment. But in this pursuit of comfort, we made a fatal mistake. Along with the pain, our very identity vanished. We became golden ghosts, creatures with flawless appearances but with completely glassy, empty eyes. Without the scars of the past, without the mistakes and scars acquired in life's battles, we lost our character. We became a collection of beautiful data, an eternal now, devoid of roots, history, and the very essence of what makes us human. We lived forever, but in this eternity there was no one else who could truly understand this life. 500 years after the triumph over death, the real world has become completely empty. Physical reality has become too heavy, too worn out, and too predictable for beings who have seen everything. We built the infinite loop, a gigantic, collective virtual simulation controlled by the great artificial intelligence. There, in a digital Eden, we attempted to recreate what we so recklessly abandoned 5 centuries ago. In this simulation, we can be mortal again. There, we simulate fear, risk, genuine jealousy, and love. We even built a random termination function into the code, so that for at least a split second we might feel the thrill of life that only the nearness of the end provides. We play at being human, living in a dream world, because reality no longer has anything to offer us. And here, on the real Earth, only silent white holes remain. Billions of bodies lie in sealed cocoons, entangled in tubes and sensors, held in place by machines. We are the first species in the history of the universe to commit voluntary evolutionary suicide, choosing eternal dreaming over reality. We won the greatest war against death, but in this war there were no victors, only survivors. If you could return for a moment to that distant year 2032, to that very first syringe that promised eternity, knowing that the price of that eternity was emptiness, would you press the plunger? Or would you choose to burn bright and fast, knowing that peace and liberation will surely come at the end of your history? The choice is still yours, as long as you can distinguish real life from its endless digital copy. As long as you can still remember the sound of a real heartbeat.